Hi, welcome to the Purple Fox Kitchen. My name is Julie, and today we're going to make one of my all-time favorite dishes, chicken marsala. So what we're going to do to start is we're going to cut up some mushrooms. Now in this dish, I use baby bellas, which are mini portobello mushrooms. They have a lot more flavor than the white buttons, but you can use the white buttons if that's what you have and that's what you want to use. And you'll always see mushrooms overboard.
Okay.
And you'll always see that your mushrooms, for the most part, they're going to have a little dirt on them. The last thing you want to do is rinse them underwater. You want to take a dry paper towel, just stand over a trash barrel, and just gently wipe off the dirt. That's all you need to do. So I'm going to do that with a bunch of mushrooms. So I've cleaned all my mushrooms with my paper towel. And now I'm gonna slice them up. So I've sliced up all my mushrooms. I'm gonna put them aside. I'm gonna say this is probably about 8 ounces of mushrooms. The big box that I have is a pound, and I've probably used about half of it. So you can just use about 8 ounces of mushrooms. Put them aside. And we're also going to use some garlic. So I just have a couple cloves of garlic here. I only have 2. If you're a garlic fan, add more. To each his own. When you smash the garlic like that, the peel comes off super, super easy. And it doesn't matter if it's all smashed because you're going to dice it up anyways. So you're going to take the garlic. So I'm going to let my garlic and my mushrooms hang out for a little bit, and then we're going to move on to the chicken. So I have 2 pieces of chicken breast right here. They're not super, super thick, and they're not super thin. So they're actually a really decent size. They're all cleaned up, all the fat's cut off. I'm going to season them, a little salt and pepper. And I have some flour right here. And I'm also going to put some salt and pepper in the flour. You want everything seasoned. Got a little mix. Turn the chicken over, get the other side. Use your other hand that you didn't touch the chicken with, because you don't want to put chicken hands in your salt and pepper. Okay. Now I have my pan on high heat, and I'm going to put a little vegetable oil or avocado oil in here. And I'm also going to put a little butter in here. Why butter? Because butter makes everything better. About a tablespoon of butter. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to dredge the chicken in the flour. You want to shake it off really well, get all the excess flour off. Place it in your hot pan. So we're only going to cook this a couple minutes both sides. We just want to get a nice golden brown on each side. The reason we dredge it in flour is it gives it a nice crust, but it also thickens the sauce a little bit. Flour is a thickener, so it's going to make the sauce a little bit thicker. So we'll do that for a couple minutes each side. So the chicken's been searing on both sides for a couple minutes. All I'm really looking to do is get a little golden brown and just form a nice crust. which I believe I have done. A couple minutes each side, that's all you need. So I'm going to take it out. It's okay if you use the plate that the raw chicken was on, because this is still basically raw. And then I'm going to add the mushrooms. My pan is still on high. You want it on high heat. You don't want to cook mushrooms on a low heat because they'll almost get mushy. They won't. You want to get color on mushrooms and sear them and get good caramelization on them. Mushrooms are very porous, so you can see already that the oil and the butter has disappeared. The mushrooms have absorbed it very, very quickly. So I'm actually going to add a little bit more oil to this. And guess what? A little bit more butter. Now when I cook mushrooms, I don't add salt right away. What salt does to a lot of vegetables is it releases the water in them. Mushrooms have a lot of water naturally, so the quicker you add the salt, all the water will come out. Like I said, I want to get these nice and caramelized, keep them as dry as possible for as long as I can. So I always add salt to mushrooms at the end of them cooking. So I think my mushrooms maybe have another minute or two left, and now is when I'm going to add my garlic. You don't want to add the garlic too soon or else it'll burn. And you definitely don't want to add it first before your other vegetables. So we'll cook this for another minute or two. Nice pinch. So before I add the chicken and the liquid back to the pan, I'm going to take some of this flour that I used to dredge the chicken in, and I'm going to sprinkle it on top of the mushrooms. What this is going to do is make the sauce a little bit thicker. When you dredge the chicken, it helps, but it doesn't help a lot. So I'm literally taking 2 pinches, maybe 3, and just sprinkling it on the mushrooms. You want your sauce to have body. You don't want it super thick, but you just want it to have body. You want it to stick to the chicken. So you have to cook out the flour. So you're just going to toss the mushrooms a little bit until all the white flour disappears. If it's sticking to the bottom of your pan, that's okay. You actually want that to happen. That's flavor. Okay, so while the flour's cooking out, I'm going to measure out my liquid. I have Marsala wine here. You want to buy this in a liquor store. You do not want to get the Marsala that's in the supermarket. You want the real deal from a liquor store. So I'm going to measure out a cup of Marsala. And I also have here some chicken stock. I made this fresh, but you can use the chicken stock from the market if you have to. And I'm also going to do a cup of chicken stock. And if you can see here, you can see how much the mushrooms have shrunk. And you can also see all the bits on the bottom of the pan. That's great. You want that. Like I said, it's flavor. And when you put the liquid in, it's all going to come up. And you're going to take your spoon or whatever you have, and this will come to a boil soon, and you're going to pick up all that stuff that's on the bottom. It's all flavor. So my liquid has come to a boil. And I can feel at the bottom of the pan, none of those bits exist anymore. They're all incorporated. It was bits of flour. It's going to start making your sauce really thick. And now that it's at a boil, you're going to take your chicken and you're going to put it back in. And if there's any juice here, pour that in too. Now I'm going to bring it down to a simmer, so at medium heat. Now this is probably going to reduce by half. So maybe you're going to cook this 4 or 5 minutes each side and just let it go. So while my mushrooms and chicken are cooking, I'm going to cut up some herbs. Now in this dish, it's more for freshness and obviously for flavor. I'm going to use parsley and thyme. Now here's a little trick for you. When you have a bunch of parsley like this, you know, it's okay if you take each stem and pick the leaves off. That could take a while. It could be time consuming. You can literally take this whole bunch right here. You can eat the stems, it's fine. You want to take it and roll it up. Take this part, tuck it under, and then you can just start chopping really thinly. This will save you so much time. Like I said, the stems are edible. And look, I mean, it's literally already pretty much chopped up for you. You can take your knife, run it through one more time. And now here we have some thyme. So with the thyme, you're going to take it and pull it in the opposite direction, and it should just fall right off. And again, the stems are also edible. So I've picked about a couple tablespoons of thyme, and I'm just going to go through with my knife. So I'm going to say it's been about 4 or 5 minutes on this one side. So I'm going to flip them over. And now is the time I'm going to add my fresh thyme. I want to cook it down a little bit. And I'm going to save the parsley till the end. Looks great. Go another few minutes. So it's been about another 5 minutes. And you can see here just how much that liquid has reduced. And you can also see that it has a really nice thick quality to it. It's not super, super thick like glue, but it's also not thin like water. It's perfect. It'll stick to the chicken, makes a great, great sauce. You can see how much it's reduced by half. And we're done. We're ready to go. We're ready to plate it up. So before I take it out of the pan, I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of parsley in here. It just adds freshness. So this is done. And before I take it off the stove, you have to taste the sauce first. Make sure you don't want to add more marsala, chicken stock, salt. Oh man. That's awesome. Get a little bit more salt. Just bring out the flavors a little bit more. And the last thing I'm going to do, actually, you're going to think I'm crazy. 1 more tablespoon of butter. It brings it all together. It's going to make the sauce even richer. It makes it velvety. Just that little pat of butter can make a big difference. And I use unsalted butter when I cook. Okay, so you can control the salt. Now when you do serve chicken marsala, you want to make a nice starch with it. You want to put it over pasta. You want to put it over mashed potatoes, creamy polenta, rice, doesn't matter. Look at this velvety sauce. This is just a winner chicken dinner. This is your upscale comfort food at its finest. A little sprinkle of fresh parsley. There you go. It is time to dig in. It's so tender. I'm using a butter knife. When you cook chicken in a liquid like that, it braises it and it just makes it insanely tender. Get a mushroom. There's really nothing better. The sauce, it's so flavorful. Serve this over pasta or better mashed potatoes. You'll make this at least once a week. I guarantee you. And you can see the sauce. It's sticking to the chicken. You can see that. It's not falling off like water. Those couple pinches of flour make all the difference. Thank you so much for watching, and be sure to follow me on my YouTube channel, The Purple Fox Kitchen, and make sure you subscribe. I'll see you soon.